Well, it's coming up on a year since the terror attacks on our consulate in Benghazi killed 4 Americans. President Obama promised to bring those responsible to justice. Remember?
We will not waver in our commitment to see that justice is done for this terrible act. And make no mistake, justice will be done. To you, their families and colleagues, to all Americans, know this: their sacrifice will never be forgotten. We will bring to justice those who took them from us. There should be no doubt that we will be relentless in tracking down the killers and bringing them to justice.
If I may, the president, in his own words, quote, "We will not waver," and, quote, "they'll never be forgotten." Oh, in this one, quote, "We will be relentless in tracking down the killers." Disturbing words, considering we learned today that a news organization claims to have interviewed the leader of Ansar al-Sharia, the terror group responsible for the Benghazi attack. Nice job, President O. You have no suspects, no interviews, no leads, and no answers. Here's Ed Henry pressing Jay Carney today.
How is it that someone who's potentially lead suspect in this terror attack could sit down with a media organization for a couple of hours and never be contacted by the FBI? How serious is this?
Well, I would refer you to the FBI for details of their investigation.
President Obama mentioned the phony scandals that are part of an endless parade of distractions. Can you tell us what phony scandals he's talking about?
Whether it's about the attacks in Benghazi and the talking points, or revelations about conduct at the IRS, that attempts to turn this into a scandal have failed.
Oh, wow. Bob, take some real cojones to stand up there and say these are phony scandals, 4 dead Americans, and now we learn that a news organization actually interviewed the leader of the group that may have killed those 4 Americans.
Well, I think phony scandals was the wrong word, but you have no idea whether they have any leads, whether they have any suspects. My guess is they do. My guess is they're following them, and my guess is, and here's a bet I'll make with you right now, none of those people who were responsible for that will be alive come December 31, or they will be in
what do you mean? Wait, what do you mean?
What I mean is that I think we know who they are, and I think we're tracking. We're going to, they're either going to be taken out or they're going to be picked up.
All right.
Is that from the Psychic
Kimberly,
Friends Network?
Why do we have to learn about this leader, the fact that one of the other news organizations interviewed him for 4 hours? They found him.
Did he do it?
FBI.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, what kind of investigation did they run from the beginning? All right, the truth is in the past and in what their conduct. The FBI wasn't even on the ground in time to get anything. You had news networks obtaining real forensic evidence on the ground, pulling it from the scene. That is a compromised crime scene to begin with. Why don't we have some suspects or leads? I don't think that we have any. If we did, we certainly would have done something about it already by now. We wouldn't still be having this conversation. Unfortunately, justice delayed in this case is justice denied.
Can I remind you, the Libyan government would not allow the FBI in, and secondly,
a bunch of excuses.
Well, I mean, you just can't run into a country.
No, but Bob,
on
one side of your mouth you're saying that these guys are going to be summarily judged and taken care of, but on the other side you say, well, the FBI is not allowed.
No. And the other thing was, you said the interview with the head of this group. Did the head of the group have a responsible? Were they there?
Yes.
Did he shoot?
Yeah, they took credit for it.
No. Did he shoot?
Oh, I don't know if he did or not. Who cares? How's this? I'd like our FBI to at least have a conversation.
But you want to cut off the head of the snake.
Dana, 4 Americans are dead: Stevens, Woods, Smith, and Doherty. Yet Jay Carney has the guts to stand up there and say it's a phony scandal.
But look, they had a phony excuse from the beginning. Okay, remember the reason that they said for the violence initially, and they told this to the world. They told it to the parents of those young men that died, that there was a video maker and that he was the reason that caused the riot. So the phoniness actually started at the beginning, which is one of the reasons they have this problem. I believe that James Comey, who is the new head of the FBI, who just got sworn in, I don't know if he's been sworn in yet, but the Senate has approved him.
Right.
He will now be the new head of the FBI. I think that knowing James Comey, I believe that he'll get in there, and I don't know whether he'll do anything by December 31st, but I would imagine that he's going to want to get to the heart of the matter right away, because he's going to feel an obligation to be an independent operator, but also to get back to the members of the Senate who just confirmed him, he promised them he would get to the bottom of it.
I only hope so.
We opened the segment with President Obama on 3 different occasions. We had a lot more of him promising to find the perpetrators of Benghazi attacks. I don't know, it doesn't seem like he's following through on his promises.
He's relentless as a stoner. I mean, calling Benghazi a phony scandal is like calling the Boston Marathon bombing a running injury. I guess 9/11 was an optical illusion perpetrated by David Blaine. Is it because none of the victims didn't look like his son? Or it could have been him 35 years ago? And maybe, perhaps, we should contact Al Sharpton. And when Al Sharpton goes to the White House, which he happens to go more than Joe Biden does, he could actually maybe ask President Obama, maybe you should look into Benghazi, because he seems to listen to Al Sharpton.
Your allegations here, what the President of the United States said, you have not a single clue how they're pursuing these people right now. You think they just automatically? Do you think because another network got an interview that somehow means that they're not investigating this? Are you kidding me?
Bob, here's the reality is it was a month after the attacks when the same network said they were inside the compound before the FBI even gained access to the compound.
If I remember right, people said that we would go after bin Laden.
Why is it that the media...
Bin Laden would be dead or captured,
why is it that the media is getting more information than our own FBI, CIA, and the rest of the...
That's a problem.
They were on the ground there. The Libyan government would not let us in.
Do me a favor. Listen, I don't agree with Lindsey Graham on 85% of the things he says. On this one occasion, maybe I do. Listen.
What's going on?
No one's been brought to jail. We still don't know if Hillary Clinton approved the consulate to be open after it failed the security inspection. We still have no idea who changed the talking points to start this lie that it was a riot caused by video. The basics of what happened in Benghazi are unknown, and the Congress has never been able to interview one survivor. They're writing books, they're appearing on TV. This has to stop. This is not a scandal. This is a national security failure where 4 brave Americans died, and we're doing nothing to bring the people to justice to understand how it failed.
Dana, what your thoughts on that?
Well, I think he's got great points, and I think that the Congress, Darrell Issa was on Cavuto earlier today. One of the accusations against the Republicans has been, what are you doing in terms of your investigative powers when it comes to the IRS or Benghazi? But part of the problem is they are completely being stonewalled by the administration, so you can't get the information. When the Democrats took over in 2006, when they won that election, they were relentless, and I felt a responsibility to be responsive to questions from the media about it. I would be very careful in saying to anybody that something is a phony scandal when 4 people have been killed and there's no answer for it.
ISIS had 20 hearings.
But Bob, did you not listen to what Senator Graham was saying?
I listened to what Senator Graham said, but that part I can understand, but I don't understand what it is that ISIS was denied.
New York Times and other news organizations can find people to interview. People can sign contracts to write books.
Right.
People can sign up and to get money for their experiences while they're in Benghazi, but the Congress isn't allowed to talk to them? How is that? Explain that.
No, here's what Bob's saying is that there were all these hearings. Nobody's talking about the hearings because there's a collusion between the president and the media. Remember last week when the president said, reporters believe he has good ideas. One of the good ideas that the media has in their mind is that Benghazi was no big deal. Yep. And they agree because the media doesn't care about Benghazi. Neither does the president. That's why he can do this. That's why he can do this about the DOJ, about the IRS. None of these things in the media's eye is that important.
Yeah,
you really believe the President of the United States does not care about 4 Americans?
He doesn't care about as much as he does other
honestly,
things.
You're saying this now, but do you remember when Hillary Clinton was still a Secretary of State? They brought her to Congress to testify. She bumped her head, so she had to wait. She was no longer Secretary of State. They bring her back, and she says, what difference does it make?
Remember that
she set the tone for this being a phony scandal.
And now the president.
And what the president has done is followed her into that foxhole.
She said they were all dead. And the question is whether who did what, where, when. Does it really matter who or what or when?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, wait a second. At that moment, she was talking about we will bring these people to justice, just as Obama said, and you'll sit back and you're going to eat your words on this one.
Okay, because from the Nintendo controller, we'll send in a Predator drone and say that we got whoever was responsible. The problem is that we lost valuable time and we've been made a fool of internationally. This is a national security issue. And then when we have a president that engages in shameless rhetoric, saying the words that he said, I don't understand how he can call these phony scandals.
But also, they lied from the beginning. They lied from the beginning as to the reason as to all of this happening.
Blame it on a video.
I mean, Bob, how do you explain that? They lied from the beginning,
No,
and they said to the parents. They told the lie to the parents. I can't believe you're not more offended by that.
I think what Carney said there, did he not, was that the phony scandal had to do with the talking points. That's what he tried. That's why he tried to get out of it. I think they were misleading from the beginning. I agree with that completely, and I said that earlier on. I just don't. First of all,
that affects the investigation, Bob.
Internationally, we're taking a black eye as silly because we don't know that. Not another country has said that. And secondly, we don't know what's going on.
I'm sorry, the President Libya mocked us too because he said it called it a terrorist attack when we're blaming it on a video and doing an apology PR tour throughout the Middle East. I'm sorry, Bob, and misrepresenting and lying about the genesis.
Who's lying?
They did.
You just said and everybody was out there giving talking points.
You want to let's get the White House interested in this. Let's tie this to stand your ground. Let's do that. If we can implicate stand your ground in this, there will be rage across the country.
Like the Ansar al-Sharias would just stand your ground.
Believe the President of the United States does not care about what's going on with trying to bring these guys to justice?
Was even speeches like
I think he's relieved. It's relieved that a lot of things have happened in the last 5 weeks that have taken it off the radar.
Let's put it this way. Maybe he's interested in Hillary Clinton. Maybe there was a deal cut, a discussion cut by saying, let's just let this one die because this is no good for Hillary 2016.
I just think that is so absolutely ridiculous. Wait a minute. That is the kind of statement that you make when you know not what you're talking about.
Bob, stop it. You've sat here time and time again talking about all the tactics that you use as a Democratic strategist, as a campaign manager, and some of them, frankly, are far more insidious than that.
Yeah, but you just made a statement saying that when they met for lunch, they worked out a deal that tried to cover up Benghazi.
Way
This was at lunch a long time ago.
This is a long time ago.
And also, Bob, you admitted that they pushed this stuff under to win an election.
I did. I said that, and I said it then, and I'll say it again now.
Bob, you're the king of operators.
But wait a second. What I'm saying here is to try to suggest that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama in luncheons that you had nothing to do with and nobody reported was coming up with some ridiculous strategy about 16 is ridiculous.
So
there's Shep on the phone outside.
This is the phone behind
Bob. All right. Anyway, okay. So very quickly, they're calling.